Match the mouth flaps. Hey guys, today we're going to be checking out Death Battle's video of Stitch versus Rocket Raccoon. Now, I stated in my last video that I was going to be checking this one out, maybe that day or this Friday, so I'm checking out today because I had another video planned for that one. And that video is doing pretty good too, and I really like that. That's really cool to see. Also, I've been getting quite a bit of subscribers recently, so I'm very excited and very proud of that. I mean, I think last time I checked I had around maybe around 260 something, like 260, 263, and now I'm at 280. So yeah, my subscriber count went up pretty fast in just a couple of days. So big thank you to all of you guys for subscribing to this channel. Like I said, I'm trying to hit the 500 subscriber goal, because when I hit that, I can actually monetize my videos, and technically I'm an official YouTuber at that point. But yeah, I was gonna check this one out even prior to the last one, which was Raven versus who was she against? Oh yeah, Jean Grey's Phoenix Force. So I was planning on checking this one out, but I had a bunch of other videos to do, and I just couldn't get into it. But I really want to see this because I really love Stitch. I think he's an amazing character. I love Lilo and Stitch. Those movies, the first and second one, were my favorite movies. I don't know if it's Disney. Is it Disney? Yeah, they're my favorite Disney movies. They're just so funny, and he's just such a cute character, and I just love him. Rocket Raccoon is also pretty cool. I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I think that movie was amazing. I liked his character development in that story and his, backstory, but I do think Stitch is more powerful than him. From what I heard, he's kind of indestructible. The only thing that can really harm him is drowning, but I don't think that's going to really be effective for Rocket in this fight. Now, before I get into it, I want to give a big shout out to two new subscribers of mine, one by the name of Brian Kennedy and the other one by Zeno. So big thank you to you two guys for subscribing to this channel. So yeah, let's get into it.
In the distant reaches of outer space, the mad scientist Jumbo Jukiba was accused of illegal genetic experimentation.
He took the galaxy's most fearsome, most dangerous, most absolutely purely black-hearted evil creatures and smushed them all together.
A great man with a vision, persecuted by spineless know-nothing bureaucrats.
The result? Experiment 626, though you can just call him Stitch.
He did not!
I think I'm gonna be sick. Oh, so naughty. After being slated for termination, Stitch escapes to a distant planet, Earth. Oh wait, Earth.
Crash landing in the Hawaiian island of Kauai of all places. There he'd be adopted by the Earth girl Lilo and went incognito as the ugliest dog ever.
And despite his horrific upbringing, Stitch found he had a softer side, a love of Elvis, and a kinship with Lilo, a devil child who didn't fit in, just like him. It wasn't long before Stitch was ready to do anything to protect his new Ohana from the alien threats coming to get him.
And let me tell you, as a fellow mad scientist, Jumbo really outdid himself here. I've been meaning to dig deeper into Stitch's piecemeal alien biology for years. First of all, his fluffy exterior is entirely bulletproof, fireproof, and nearly impenetrable.
Though this comes with a catch. His molecular structure is so dense, he can't swim. Sucks he landed in Hawaii of all places.
Stitch can crawl on walls, hear a whisper from miles away.
Okay, so we're going to be checking out his superpowers and abilities, because from what I heard, he does have a lot, mainly in his durability department. He does have a lot of strength too. I think he was able to pick up a giant-ass rocket ship, so he is very powerful, a lot stronger than a lot of people think. Also, that movie is just funny, seeing the clips from it. I love how Lilo, when she punched the girl in the face, I thought that was hilarious. I did not expect her to fucking punch her right in the head. And that movie, I know this doesn't have to do with the character, but I just want to talk about the funny part where, the girl, she was talking shit to Lilo, saying you're a loser and stuff like that. And then the other girl's like, yeah, her dad is not here. Her dad left her. She's like, shut up, don't say that. I thought that part was funny. But yeah, he is a very powerful character. He might look like an adorable little creature, but he is very, very tough. And yeah, besides the water thing, there's no real serious, weakness that he has. It's kind of like the Minions from the Minion franchise, where they're practically indestructible, even though they don't show them doing anything super crazy. He's a little more impressive with what he does, but still, they're pretty much like the same. They're unassuming, but yet very, very, somehow very powerful beings. I don't know if he's completely indestructible, but I do know that he can take quite a bit, of a beating. Also, he looks like a koala. I always thought that. He looked like a blue alien version of a koala. But yeah, let's get into superpowers. Supervision, night vision, X-ray vision, infrared vision, zooming. He's kind of like, even though he's a bio organism, he does feel a little bit like he's mechanical. Like a lot of his like ways he does things does feel like he's robotic. Bulletproof, fireproof, supercomputer brain. Yeah, he might look like an idiot, but he does have a supercomputer brain. Wall crawling, super hearing, super spit, which I think his spit was like acidic or something like that, maybe. Sonic scream, alien form, which is basically his form where he gets his like extra appendages out, so he has like 4 arms and stuff like that. And power cell. Yeah, he is powerful, but he can be easily captured and detained. But that's not going to help you beat him in a fight unless Rocket has some equipment that can stop him, and then he can like, take him out with that. But I don't know.
Away and screams so loud he'll blow you to kingdom come.
He's strong enough to lift 3,000 times his own body weight and can spin dash so fast he'll burst into flames.
His eyesight is also incredible. He's got night, X-ray, and infrared vision, and can even zoom in hundreds of times over.
Even better, he can hop loogies like a friggin' machine gun. His spit is conductive enough to short-circuit electronics, stick objects together like glue, and even dissolve solid rock. Oh, and he's somehow a genius too. The dude knows molecular physics and can build entire mech suits and spaceships out of junk in seconds.
You wouldn't think it from his everything, but Stitch is a genius with a brain comparable to a supercomputer. The world's most powerful supercomputer right now is Hewlett-Packard's Frontier, which can make 1 quintillion calculations a second.
Comparing Stitch to Frontier is frankly a massive lowball.
See, Stitch was programmed to have Jumba's own intelligence, and Jumba's IQ has been compared to that of an entire galaxy combined.
I have conducted my own genetic analysis to determine Stitch's alien progenitors. His DNA includes traces of the manglioid of Meridian 4, the goo goblin booger beast, the people-eating pus monkey, the deadly disemboweler, the boiling tongueoid, and the bottom-feeding scum sucker.
It sounds like your ex-wife. Am I right?
No, Wiz, what the hell? That's such a messed up thing to say about her. Be better.
I'm so disappointed in you.
You can make those jokes when you start paying the alimony.
Well, Stitch's incredible buffet of alien DNA is supported by a power cell embedded in his body, fueled by the energy of 2 colliding planets. Huh? Colliding planets! Are you coming back? No?
F you!
Okay.
He's got a jetpack, freeze ray, grenade.
I'm guessing his most impressive feats are going to be coming from the show, because he did have a show for a bit where they're catching the other experiments from the professor or the doctor, and they're catching them, and they're basically like his family members. They all had their own unique abilities, but he was technically the most powerful. He was more specifically on the physical aspect, but still he had obviously additional abilities too, but mainly he's like just physically very strong, and he was better than the rest of them. It's just that the others have some like unique abilities that make it tricky. Now he also does have an arsenal of his own, so when it comes to physicality, Rocket Raccoon has nothing on Stitch, but when it comes to his tech, that can definitely give him the advantage in the fight. But he also has advanced alien tech, so he has this physicality on top of that alien tech. I think that's going to be a little too much for Rocket, because even with his tech, I don't think it's so unbelievable to the point where, you know, he could prevent Stitch from beating him up or seriously damaging Stitch either. So he has plasma blasters, ammo types, plasma, glue, laser, rocket, net, grapple, and anti-heat foam, jetpack, freeze ray, grenades, seismotronic 200, laser shields, and underwater suit. So okay, the underwater suit, I get that. I guess that could save him if some water battle happens. But yeah, the rest of the stuff, it doesn't seem too crazy, the arsenal. I definitely still think that Rocket Raccoon's arsenal is going to be far better than his, but I don't think it's going to give him enough for an edge to beat him physically, though.
And a Seismotronic 200, which can make sandwiches gigantic. Oh, and shrink enemies, that's cool too.
Stitch was a one-fluff army, and he proved it when everyone from the Galactic Federation to the dastardly Dr. Hamsterville came to pick a fight with him.
Including all of Jumba's experiments. Yeah, 626 isn't just some random number. There are hundreds of these little bastards running around. More trouble-making cousins to add to his growing ohana.
Though he had to pacify many of them first, like Slushy, who can create a a snowstorm that covered all of Kauai.
Or Richter, who can split the Earth in half and shatter planet-busting asteroids.
And Jumba stated that Stitch was the most destructive, unstoppable monster the universe has ever seen. Even more dangerous than Holio, who can create a black hole large enough to consume the entire universe.
Speaking of black holes, in the anime, yes, there's a Lilo and Stitch anime, Stitch once piloted a ship carrying a supernova bomb strong enough to wipe out a galaxy and flew it into a black hole. It and the black hole both exploded on top of him, and he popped out no worse for the wear.
Okay, so I do know about the Disney show that they had of it, so that's where I knew that stuff. I didn't know that they had a character. I didn't watch the full show, I think, or I probably just don't remember. It was years ago. But I remember him having one that can turn to a black hole. It does make sense that he could tank this stuff because, like I said, I don't know to what extent, but he is supposed to be indestructible. And the fact that he can take a supernova and a black hole and stuff like that, I don't think Rocket has any tech that's on that level. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people might say, well, he does have this and that, but if he could take that and come out without a scratch, that's going to be hard to beat him. So like I said, he's technically indestructible, so that's crazy to think that somebody like a character like Stitch is so overly powerful. This doesn't mean he can be unbeaten, because there's characters that can raise people out of existence or warp reality, or even, past just destroying the physical, that can destroy the spiritual. But when it comes to physicality itself, he's pretty much indestructible. Now, I don't know about the whole black hole consuming the entire universe itself. I would have to check out the anime or that story itself specifically to know that 100%, because in the end of the day, even the biggest black hole in our world is like, it can't consume the entire universe. So who knows, that might be a hyperbolic statement, or that might have meant through over time, but I haven't checked it out to know 100%. So it says, strongest version, 1 million degree black belt. That's not a thing. Okay, whatever. Built a mech suit in 5 seconds. Pretty impressive. Threw a giant laser into space. Pretty impressive. Survived being inside 2 black holes. Damn. Saved the universe numerous times. Sorry. So he saved the universe numerous times. That doesn't really mean much. We've seen characters that aren't that powerful saving the universe, so that doesn't mean anything unless if he took some universal damage to protect it. But the whole 2 black holes thing, I think, is impressive enough, and I didn't expect him to be that durable.
Like you do.
Another time, he piloted a ship to a different black hole in less than 2 minutes. It's unclear exactly how far this was, but the average distance between stars is about 5 light years.
That means his ship would have had to have been flying at over 1 million times the speed of light.
And when he's filled with love for his Ohana, the power cell inside Stitch surges incalculably. He used this to defeat Dark End, an experiment explicitly made to be stronger than Stitch, who had just defeated 4 Stitch clones on his own.
And Stitch completely annihilated him. He knocked Dark End into outer space so hard he dislodged a city-sized space station. Like you do.
He's even managed to worm his way into completely different Disney properties.
Oh God, we don't have another Deadpool on our hands, do we?
With Stitch around, Lilo, Nani, and the inhabitants of Earth couldn't be safer.
Surf's up for everyone's favorite blue fuzzball of death. Somewhere in the Black Mountain Hills of Dakota, there was a young boy named Raccoon.
Raccoon. Rocket, not Rocky. That's the Beatles song he's named after.
Well, I have wasted a lot of time on some very specific research.
In fact, it's just Rocket. Despite his startling resemblance to the resourceful dumpster-diving mammal, Rocket originates from the alien planet Half-World, which served as an asylum for the criminally insane ruled over by alien humanoids.
Along with many of Half-World's cutesy inhabitants, Rocket was subjected to cybergenetic modifications by his overlords.
All with the purpose of being Half-World's warden, Ranger Rocket.
Rocket's mutations make him smarter, stronger, faster, and tougher than your average garbage goblin.
His cybernetic skeleton is connected to artificial vertebrae and neural implants, allowing him to dodge gunfire and laser beams, survive an explosion the size of a city block, and keep up with supervillains like Kraven and Venom.
Alongside pals Lila the Otter and Walrus the... Rocket battled the mercenary Blackjack O'Hare and killer clowns and saved the day time and time again. I bet you're wondering what the hell this has to do with Guardians of the Galaxy.
In a convoluted editorial effort to reboot his character, Rocket left Half-World to become a mercenary and had his memories suppressed. After a betrayal by his otter lover, a different one, he has a thing for otters, Rocket was sent to jail. Space jail.
And prison changes a man. Gone was the Saturday morning cartoon character of yore. He was a felon, cynical and hardened by the criminal justice system. The space criminal justice system.
Rocket suffered not only from his penal servitude, but the trauma of his brutal genetic modifications, and a lingering sense of alienation. It was in this personal hell where he'd meet a bunch of a-holes who would soon be his new teammates. Star-Lord, Gamora, Drax, and of course, his best pal Groot.
And together they were the Guardians of the Galaxy, defending the free peoples of the cosmos from all manner of alien menace. For a price, of course. Though unlike some of the powerhouses on his team, Rocket's raccoon body is...
I told you he's not a raccoon. He was created on Half-World and is the last of an entire race of raccoon-like aliens. He just happens to look like an Earth raccoon.
Don't lecture me on raccoons, Wiz. I'm an expert. Been fighting the bastards for years. Did you know their tiny little bandit masks are for reducing glare to enhance night vision? They can hear noises as quiet as earthworms digging underground. And about 2/3 of the sensory perception part of their cerebral cortex is devoted...
I don't like the comedic parts and stuff. Sometimes it's funny, but I'd rather have them focus more on the power scaling than, this, because he's just describing the real traits of an actual raccoon, which doesn't really matter in the end of the day. We're really just looking at Rocket Raccoon's abilities. Though I do want to say Guardians of the Galaxy 3 was a phenomenal movie. I really loved it. I thought it was really great, and it's crazy to see, since they're explaining the story, it seems like the movie stayed pretty close to the comics. It wasn't 100% accurate, obviously, but it seemed pretty close to it. So I congratulate them for that. That's pretty cool to see. But I want to see them go into his stuff. He is obviously more physically enhanced, but let's be honest, he has a bit of a physical cybernetic enhancement where Stitch is completely a biogenetically created machine. The comparison of you to use Dragon Ball is Rocket Raccoon is Android 8. Where he's physically powerful and stuff like that compared to other people, but he's still not overly powerful. Whereas Stitch is kind of like Cell, where he is insanely powerful. He might not be mechanical, but his organic form is so much more powerful. So yeah, I just feel like even though he has a little bit more of an advantage in the physical aspect, Rocket Raccoon, he isn't completely weak. It's not enough to give him the edge against somebody like Stitch.
It to their tactile impulses. That's why they grab shit with their tiny little hands.
All perfectly suited to a nimble, stealthy glass cannon like Rocket.
Yeah, 'cause he's a raccoon.
As I was saying, Rocket became the team's resident grease monkey, specializing in all things technology and engineering. And fittingly, his specialty in combat is firearms.
Yeah, that sounds like my cue, Wiz. Rocket's built giant mechs, cobbled together random junk for an improvised flamethrower, and casually slapped together a bomb strong enough to destroy a moon. Oh, and he's got every kind of hand cannon imaginable. Pistols, machine guns, miniguns, rifles, rocket launchers, plasma guns, laser guns, and my favorite, the melon popper, where melon means head and pop means... kabam!
That melon belonged to a Super Skrull, one of the deadliest warriors in the Marvel Universe. With the combined abilities of the Fantastic Four, including the Thing, who survived a blast from the power cosmic that could split a planet in two.
Yeah, Rocket's weapons are crazy, like the Rampart armed phasic cannon, which utilizes cold fusion and could melt the face off the Mad Titan himself, Thanos.
The same Thanos who is strong enough to survive a supermassive black hole 4 light years across, and came out with only light scratches.
The very same Purple Shrek who's battled universe busters and beyond like Thor, Hulk, and Odin. If Thanos can walk through attacks from a dude who can shake the multiverse and Rocket's guns can hurt him, I'm gonna need one of those puppies under my pillow ASAP.
And similar weaponry to what Rockets use can operate down to the picosecond, which is 1/trillionth of a second.
He can access all of these goodies at any time.
Okay, so his tech, I think his tech is not going to do anything. A lot of them just seem like generic weaponry, so a lot of them is not going to work. But the more highly and powerful and advanced ones, I think will. They stated something like destroying a moon. That's impressive, but not enough to harm him. They said a couple other things. Then they said, it burned, not Galactus, what's his name? Thanos. It burned Thanos, but Thanos took a black hole and fought all these other beings. But here's the thing, like I said before multiple times, a lot of these comic books, these characters are very inconsistent with their powers. So just because one character has shown insane feats and before other comics, doesn't mean that the one that is fighting against the specific character is that powerful. So just because Rocket Raccoon's tech hurt him, doesn't mean that the Thanos that got hurt by it had the same level of power as the one that took a black hole. It could be a weaker version. It really depends, so sometimes it can be a little tricky with finding how powerful these characters are, because you see them hurting other characters, but then you got to realize that sometimes they're not as powerful as they normally are. So he could be black hole level or above that because he took only a couple of scratches, or he could be just a weaker version of him, because there's times where he gets hurt by planet level attacks, and at most is galaxy level. So to assume that every time he's a black hole level and above that or stuff like that, or even universal level every time, it's not very reasonable unless in that specific comic that version of him is, because you could argue that the tech hurt him because this is a more nerfed version, and obviously it would hurt him. So yeah, I do see that he has more tech that can work, but I think it's a very small amount of tech that could do that. Most of his other tech is too weak to do anything to him, and we've seen him taking 2 black holes and have not even a single scratch. So we're going to need to see him use some insanely heavy artillery to hurt him. And like I said, sometimes hurting certain characters, it can be very inconsistent, because like I said, some of these characters can be nerfed, sometimes they can be wanked and stuff by the creators, the writers, whoever. So it doesn't mean every time that somebody hurts them that means that character's on the high end of the level. They could just be on the lower end, and because they put them down to nerf them, so it could be possible. Because the assumption always people is, oh, this character hurt them and this character is really that powerful, that means this character that hurt them is also that powerful. But in reality, most likely the way it works from writing narrative is, when you have a very OP character getting hurt by a character that's not that powerful, that doesn't mean that character that's not that powerful is actually really powerful. In reality, it means that the character that's getting hurt has gotten nerfed in that storyline, and it's written specifically for that character to be hurt, so it could be more, of a reasonable story, right? So the idea, I think people do that a lot. I don't really like that narrative where they assume like, oh yeah, that just means this character's that powerful. Like, or more likely, which usually happens, they nerf the super powerful characters so there can be more of a story. This is a common thing, to nerf very powerful characters to actually have a story, because if you're not, then there wouldn't be a thing, That's more likely than just the other way. I mean, if you look at it like with Dragon Ball, Goku was able to, fight off Krillin and stuff like that and other characters, unless you're saying that all those characters are on that level of power, or either Goku's holding back. There's either more of a reasoning why that's the case, or they're getting the very powerful characters getting nerfed, then the weaker character being amplified to that level. I just think that's ridiculous.
Time from his orbital stash, a remote-controlled satellite that'll deliver anything he wants lickety-split.
Rocket can zoom through the sky on his rocket skates, project force fields, teleport.
Blue up one shot one of the progenitors, I don't know who the hell that is, threatened to kill Thanos multiple times. He can threaten him, but that doesn't mean he could. Even if he could harm him, that doesn't mean he can fully kill him, We know that enough in storylines where a character has been hurt, but that doesn't mean you're going to kill them. Regularly destroys Groot's body, okay, blew off a Super Skrull's head. I mean, they said he has all the powers of the, Fantastic Four. They did do a good comparison with Thing. Like I said, that isn't going to be Thing's power every time. Sometimes you're going to see more over-exaggerated levels of power of him, sometimes weaker, and then sometimes when he was able to take that, maybe like people like Galactus weren't as powerful in that story. Fought an entire planet's population, hammered Guardian of the Elder of the Universe, outsmarted Star Thief and Kraven the Hunter, defeated Blackjack O'Hare, whoever those people, and Dormammu. I'm not surprised by that. But I still don't think any feats that they mentioned here are more impressive than what Stitch has done.
With a portable AI, melt through solid metal with acid, and even hack foreign technology.
Anything from a prison to a planet to an entire galactic empire. Rocket's the most dangerous not raccoon who's totally a raccoon in the whole universe.
And he's proven it with the Guardians. He's saved Earth at least 11 times, cured Ego the Living Planet of a lice infestation, and held his own against an entire world trying to kill him all at once.
He even devised a plan that ultimately stopped Dormammu, the Lord of the friggin' Dark Dimension. No wonder Star-Lord called Rocket the greatest tactical mind he's ever met, even if sometimes he has a tendency to run in guns blazing.
Though he'd always be a wisecracking son of a bitch, his time with the Guardians softened his edges. He learned to enjoy life again, and even made it back to Half-World to send that bastard Blackjack O'Hare packing.
And even though he clearly is one, whatever you do, don't call him a raccoon, because there's nowhere in the galaxy to hide from this gun-toting mother flarker. Double KO! You know, brutally murdering Ice Cream Guy wasn't necessary, Wiz, but I felt it was an artful touch.
Though similar in many ways, Stitch and Rocket's fighting styles were polar opposites.
Stitch was more than strong enough to tear Rocket apart physically, while Rocket's guns were powerful enough to kill people even stronger than Stitch. So the question was simple. If both of them only needed one hit to win, who would get the killing blow first?
It all came down to speed. Rocket has dodged lasers, and his guns could operate down to the picosecond, 1/trillionth of a second.
But Stitch's supercomputer brain could operate down to the quintillionth of a second, 1,000,000 times faster, at minimum.
And his ability to pilot that ship at over 1,000,000 times the speed of light meant that he more than had the reaction speed to dodge anything Rocket threw at him.
Rocket
Okay, let's go through the stuff. Stronger, faster, more durable. Yes, definitely. He's all those things, like I said. They said he beat stronger characters. Stronger, yes, but more durable, we don't know his limits to his durability, so we can't really say that. But also, he took 2 black holes, so that's pretty crazy. Has experience adapting to foes, yep. No exploitable weakness, yep. Likely smarter. Rocket from showings is smarter, but from the explanation of, you know, the galaxy thing and stuff like intelligence, he is smarter there. Can't withstand Rocket's weaponry. Why not? He could take 2 black holes. Did he have weaponry that was past that? Yes, they said he hurt Thanos and stuff like that, but that doesn't mean that just because you hurt him that, because Thanos' power, like, that's just over exaggerating, I think. Greater firepower, yeah, but the firepower is not that important. Larger and more versatile arsenal, yeah. Physically outmatched, that's the weakness. More reliant on equipment, more reckless. Definitely, it's funny that he's super smart, but he's also really reckless, even though you think Stitch is the more reckless one. But I do not like the argument of them saying, well, he was piloting his ship at that insane speed. That means his reflexes are equivalent to that. That's not how it works. When you drive a car, you're driving a car you can drive a car that's going at 200 miles per hour. That's not something you should do, but we've seen people do that on NASCAR, right? And they're steering and stuff like that. That doesn't mean that their reflexes are on that level of speed. Let's be honest. They're not actually can move at that speed. It's just that, you know, sometimes when you're moving in a vehicle, even if it's moving at a high speed, you can maneuver it and operate it without having to be that fast. For example, there's airplane pilots and fighter jet pilots. They're flying planes and stuff that go faster than the speed of sound, yet they're still able to move around, maneuver, and react, right? But are they at the speed of sound? No. It's just that, you know, flying in a ship or in a machine and, controlling it, even if it's going at high speeds, doesn't mean your reflexes are equivalent to that. That doesn't make any sense. That's a very illogical and dumb argument to make, like I said. Because by that logic, then that would mean that people in the Air Force, people in NASA, you know, people who, you know, actually operate, flying equipment that move faster than the speed of sound by many times, that would mean that their speed and their reflexes would be equivalent to that too by that logic. But that is not very logical, let's be honest. No human is that fast. So using that logic is very faulty. I'm not saying that he isn't that fast, but to use that as an argument for his speed and his reflexes is a pretty stupid argument to make. Let's be honest, it's dumb.
Rocket's technical brilliance meant he could keep Stitch at bay with tricks for a while, but he couldn't reliably seal the deal. Despite being a little blue goblin, Stitch usually stays level-headed in a fight, whereas Rocket can be way more impulsive.
And frankly, Stitch is probably even smarter considering he has the combined IQ of an entire galaxy.
One slip up from Rocket is all Stitch would need to end the fight.
Rocket's arsenal was absolutely bonkers to be sure, but Stitch's superior speed, physical strength, and unbelievable intelligence gave him the win.
Looks like this Rocket's blasting off again!
The winner is... What's going on? What's going on?
Now, that was Death Battle's video of Stitch versus Rocket Raccoon. Now, obviously, I do agree with the verdict of Stitch is stronger than Rocket Raccoon and would kill him, but I do not like the argument of points that they were making, like stating that Stitch, it will be kind of an equal back and forth between them because of Rocket's weaponry. But like we said, they didn't show anything to show his limit of his durability. He took 2 black holes, whereas, yes, you can argue for the Thanos thing, but... Yes, you can argue for the Thanos thing, but the problem with that argument, like I said, is that a version of Thanos really that powerful? Because, like I said, his powers fluctuate sometimes, so we don't know how powerful he was, that version of him. Also, if you think about it logically, with with Stitch's speed, he should have been able to speed blitz Rocket before he fires a weapon. Because in the end of the day, he would still need to, if he has his finger on the trigger of a gun, he would need to press on it or press the bomb and toss it for him to be able to, attack a Stitch. And of Stitch, with his intelligence and his speed, should have been able to speed blitz him before he pulls the trigger. We've seen this throughout Dragon Ball countless times where there's a character that has a gun that's about to shoot, and Goku was able to, as a kid, was able to intercept them and knock them out before they were even able to fire. So that's a very easy thing to do. So even if he had more impressive or more powerful tech that could hurt him, all Stitch would have to do, especially if they're in close range, is speed blitz him and take him out before he fires his weapon, and he could kill him easily. So he wouldn't need to be like super strategic or do all this other crazy thing, and it wouldn't have been too much of a back and forth, because even if Rocket did have the weaponry to harm him, he could have simply just hit him before he could fire it off, either take off his arm or just kill him right there and then. So yeah, I think this would have gone his way either way, even with the tech, because like I said, it still requires a speed to pull the trigger. But I do hate the argument that they make with, the whole saying that, well, he operates a machinery that was able to go at this speed, so that means his reflexes are equivalent to that because he was able to operate that machinery. But then again, like I said, when we see people in the military who fly fighter jets that are faster than the speed of sound, and they're able to maneuver it, that doesn't mean that they move at that speed too, because by that logic, us humans can move at that speed, and we have Air Force people that move faster than the speed of light, or have faster than, not speed of light, faster than the speed of sound, and have reflexes that are faster than the speed of sound. But that's clearly not the case, so I don't agree with that argument, though I do think Stitch is faster than Rocket Raccoon, and I think he could just speed blitz him and stop him, so I don't think it was as close as they wanted to make it sound. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for next time.